Hey, what's going on YouTube? How are y'all doing? My name is Tyler. Welcome to my channel, where I'm going to be discussing One Piece and information I found that I think is going to help with the overall big questions that have been in the anime for a while. So it's a lot of good information. It's a wealth. It's a wealth of history and information. So please double check me. I hope you guys research this too. And I know the hardcore fans who kept up with One Piece up till now, up to current, we'll be able to use this information and dive even deeper than what I'm about to and make all the necessary connections to be able to plot out the rest of One Piece and figure out all the big questions we got. So, me personally, I love One Piece. I've been a fan since the beginning of the show, but Wano, haven't even watched any of Wano. I've been drifting in and out of series since a year before Wano even came out. It's just a lot of episodes, a lot of time. It's just, can't. I will, on my last episode, do a shout out to all the anime channels I watch. It's like 2 or 3 of them, but that's how I kept up with the anime, because I still wanted to know what happened, but I just didn't have the time to actually sit down and binge. So I am going to shout out those channels on my last Will of D video when I get to that. Now, yeah, so where did I find this initial information? The first thread of information. Watching the Karen Hunter show, so shout out to Miss Karen Hunter, and her podcast and radio show she's got going on, and her guest she had this past weekend, Professor Greg Carr, professor of and head of Afro-American Studies at Howard University, HBCU. And both of these individuals have great programs, great platforms. Go check them out. I came across them researching my own culture and history, and just wanted to know more about myself being a black guy in America, basically. And I really thank you too if you end up watching this at all. Like, great, like, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. I love the information you have, and I love the discussions you guys have. So thank you very much. And that's actually encouraged me to research myself, find my own books and other cultures, not just research myself, but, research other cultures in the world that we find ourselves in, for my own knowledge and, just knowing for the sake of knowing too, build my own opinions about stuff. So thank you to you two individuals, because you're very strong about that. And yeah, I love what you guys do. It's great for the culture. Back to One Piece. What they were talking about in this past discussion was American cartoons in the beginning and how they portrayed black people in a derogatory way, and just in a negative light when the cartoons first started coming out. And in the middle of their discussion, the professor made a very fascinating connection, I found fascinating, between Bugs Bunny and an African god named Isu. So basically what I took from it, how he explained it, whether it was on purpose or accident, this African god theology, like religion, belief system, found its way to America modern day through this Bugs Bunny character who, like, basically perfectly depicts the characteristics of this god Isu. So I was like, oh snap, it seems kind of big. Like, I love Bugs Bunny and never heard of Isu. So I started researching. While I'm researching, scrolling down, reading the paragraphs and everything, I come across Luffy's straw hat. And it's literally the same straw hat. The picture, it depicts the god in his human form, as a child and as a man, grown man. And it's Luffy's straw hat in both depictions. There is one key difference, which I will explain. But yeah, let me tell you a little bit about each of these gods, because it's kind of like yin and yang, but it's not. It's a different thing. Yin and yang predates this religion for sure. This religion popped up around the 4th century, somewhere around that time, if not before. But my research, and if you find out something different, tells me that yin and yang predates this religion as well. And with yin and yang, like, it's the same almost. It's a little bit different, but it's still almost the same, to whereas Eligua, Elegua, and Isu are both gods of the crossroad in this religion. And Eligua is one half of the coin, that god of the crossroad, trickster, presents himself in human form, of course, but as a child or as an old man. Always has the straw hat. He's known for a straw hat, like Luffy's known for a straw hat, except the colors are different. I'll explain that. And he's known for his childlike behavior, loves whistling, loves food. Who's this sound like? I got my notes right here. Whistling, food, represents life and death. His colors are red and black. Again, I already said that. But he's very powerful, and even though he has this childlike nature, loves playing with toys. That's the other thing. Loves playing with toys. That connects for me to Dressrosa. Why that was a whole thing in itself, because I thought that was weird, but it kind of makes sense now. And yeah, that's a Legua. Like, it's just that positive side of that energy for these two entities. Isu is not evil, and there's a translation mix-up that happens in history that I'll go into as well. But Isu is also a trickster god and stuff as well. They're both gods of the crossroad, but people who follow this religion today, they'll have like statues of Legua inside the house hidden somewhere off to the side to represent him and that energy. And they have Isu normally on a property outside the house, because if you come to a crossroads in your life and a Legua, comes along and you see a Legua and you're like, oh snap, like, yeah, I'll help you through this. And a Legua would trick you, play pranks or whatever, but push you through in a positive way through your crossroad. And that's why a Legua's statue stays in the house. Isu, on the other hand, again, he's not evil, so it's not exactly like yin and yang. But if you're at a crossroads in your life and Isu popped up, people really wouldn't want to accept his help. They'll be like, he'll push you through the crossroad as well, but the research says like you wouldn't want that, because his tricks and pranks that he plays often lead, like, they're unpleasant, like often leads to harm, and they're very unpleasant. So if he pops up and you're at a crossroads and Isu is like, oh, let me help you, people are like, no, like, I know you're going to help me, you're going to push me through, but I don't want to be pushed through like that. So that's what Isu represents. It's just a necessary. You can't have a good day without having a bad day. There will be no good days if there were no bad days. You can't have one without the other. And another interesting thing with this is, since this dates back to the 4th century, so even as the lore, you don't know, or no one knows, even the people that follow this religion or this belief system, if Legua and Isu are the same entity, so like one entity that split himself into two, or if it's two separate entities or deities that keep a check of balance on each other to push the world forward. So even people who follow the religion don't know if it's like just Isu and he's both of those characters, or if it's like two separate characters that are separate. Let's see. The translation issue came, going with the trickster god thing, it's real interesting. Back in the mid 19th century, there was a American, I don't want to say journalist or professor, I don't know what he did, but he did write a book for the translation of Yoruba, the region where this religion was formed or originated from, that area. It's now modern day Benin, Benin. But the English translator was going through the vocabulary, came across Isu and Legua, and the first translation to this vocabulary, he translated Isu in English to be known as Satan or devil, which isn't what it is at all. Like, it's like I said with the yin and yang thing, it's not God and Satan, it's not yin and yang, it's Legua and Isu, it's a whole separate thing. So I don't think this was like a nefarious thing by the person who wrote the vocabulary translator, but it did get picked up by Americans and English people after him, and that's kind of stuck. The Isu being translated to Satan or devil, even on Google. So back in 2019, they actually started changing. They made up words for the translation to Satan or devil for that context, coming out of Yoruba. And there was actually like a campaign to change the meaning of Isu back to meaning what it is. Like, Isu is Isu. Like, Legua is Legua. Yin and Yang is Yin and Yang. Legua and Isu are Legua. It's its own thing. So I think this guy who was writing it was just like, oh, Legua is good. Isu's evil, so it must be God and the devil, so I'm going to translate Isu to Satan. And I think it really was like that. So I don't think that was nefarious, but that happened in the mid-19th century, and they're really just trying to fix it now in 2016 up to 2019. So interesting history with that. So how does this all connect to One Piece? So I'm thinking with my theory that Luffy is Elegua, the lighter, positive, childlike form of this deity. He is Elegua. He represents Elegua. And the hat he wears, when you see the pictures of Elegua online while you're researching it, the hat, the straw hat, has the same cloth that Luffy's has on it, except it's red and black. So it's red and black all around on the cloth with the regular straw hat, same shape and everything. Luffy's hat, I think, is purposefully red because he represents life in itself for Elegua. Kudos to Oda again, because if he's Elegua, I think Blackbeard is Isu. Blackbeard, his color is black. He has his double fruit with the absorbing black, just darkness. That's his whole double fruit. So I think these are all clues that he is Isu. Now, what Oda did, and kudos to him again, was say, all right, this is Elegua, this is Isu, this is Luffy, this is Blackbeard, but we also have Shanks and Gold D. Rogers. So what Oda did is, because Elegua comes on Earth in human form as a child or as an old man, the reincarnation cycle Oda did, I've never seen before, but basically Gold D. Rogers is the old man version of Elegua in human form who had to die. He was going to die anyway. But while Gold D. Rogers was alive in the old form, Shanks, Redhead Shanks, was the child form of Elegua, and what that represents at the same time as Gold D. Rogers was the old form. So when Gold D. Rogers got executed, Shanks immediately became the old version of Elegua in human form, leaving the path open for Luffy to become the new childlike version of Elegua in human form. And I think that creates that cycle. So Shanks is going to have to die, according to my theory. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. And when he does, Luffy is then going to become the old version of Elegua in human form, Luffy. Then, the next reincarnate, the childlike nature of the physical form of Elegua will pop up after Shanks dies, and Luffy takes, the position for the old form of Elegua. It's a lot. It's a mouthful. So yeah, Oda, just off of that alone, oh my god, you made two different types of reincarnation. So technically these entities, if you think about it as a whole, or my epiphanies that are going off is, okay, Elegua and Isu are not only Luffy and Blackbeard, but also Shanks and Gold D. Rogers. What the heck is that? I don't know how you did it, but that's mind-blowing enough for me. But I think, that's my One Piece theory for Luffy's hat. I'm going to tie that in now to my next video with the world government and what the flag means. So stay tuned for that. It will be right behind this one. All right, thanks a lot. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this. I really want the community to pick this up, see if it has any weight to it, bearings, and I really want to solve this One Piece puzzle now. Like I said, now I'm back into it. Yeah, hold out for those next videos coming up soon. All right, bye.